something more about quadratic functions. We already know a function whose formula contains square term, whose formula contains x squared. It is called a quadratic function. The formula for a quadratic function may appear in two different forms. One, ax square plus bx plus c. A is a number, b is a number, c is a number. X is of course a variable. Another, the formula might come as a times x minus h squared plus a k. A, h and k are number. If the formula is written like this, ax square plus bx plus c, we call it the general form of a quadratic equation, a quadratic function, sorry. And if the formula of the function comes like a x minus h squared plus k, then we call it in the standard form. For example, let us look at the first example, f of x equal to negative 3x square plus 2x minus 2. This is a quadratic function in general form, and important thing is we need to identify how much is a, b and c. A equal to minus 3, b equal to 2 and c equal to minus 5. A, b and c can be any numbers. Well, the next one is also in general form, and a is equal to 1. The a means the number that multiplies x square. So, x square is multiplied by 1. So, a is 1. B is the number that multiplies the x. So, it is 3, and c is the number that does not have any x. In this case, there is nothing. So, nothing means 0. C is 0. Now, this is also in general form, and if we want to identify a is 2, b is the number that multiplies x. You can observe in this formula there is no x, there is no quantity, there is no term containing x, that means b is 0. So, there is no b and c is minus 4. Well, this is in standard form. This is in standard form. Look, this is a x minus h squared plus k. So, this is a standard form with a equal to 3, h equal to 5 and k equal to 4. The next one, this is also in standard form with a equal to 2, h equal to minus 5. One thing we need to be careful is h is this quantity sign changed. If there is a plus 5, h is minus 5. If there is a minus 5, h is 5. And k is always this quantity, no sign change for k. So, k is equal to negative 3. Okay. Graph of quadratic functions. Regardless of what quadratic function we have, either in standard form or in general form, if we graph a quadratic function, we get a parabola, meaning that the graph of quadratic function will look like this. This is a graph of quadratic function. This kind of graph is called parabola. This is a graph. This could be a graph. This is a graph of quadratic function. The graph of quadratic function may look like this as well, or it is not necessary. It should be on the right half. Could be something like this as well. There are two things. There is a special thing we need to observe here. sometimes the graph of a quadratic function opens upward, the parabola is open upward, sometimes the parabola is open downward. The graph of the parabola representing graph of a quadratic function opens upward if the number a is positive. If the number a is negative, the graph opens downward, meaning that in our previous example, just looking at a, for this example a is negative 3. A is negative 3 means it should open downward. In this formula a is positive 1. A is positive 1 means the graph should open upward, positive upward. In the third formula a is positive 2, so it should open upward as well. In the fourth formula still a is positive, so it will open upward as well. The same thing is true in the fifth formula. So in these 5 examples, the parabola in the first example number 1 will open downward, will be downward opening parabola, the rest of the parabola will open upward. That's something we need to know regarding graph of the parabola. And this point, see, if we look at the graph, it is going down, going down, going down, going down, and as soon as it hits here, it starts going up. So this point sometimes is called turning point. The parabola turns in its direction, so it goes down, goes down, goes up. The turning point of the parabola of the quadratic function is called the vertex. By vertex of a parabola, the turning point of the parabola is the vertex. So this means a is positive, this means a is negative, this means a is negative, this means a is positive, this is the vertex, this is vertex, this is vertex, this is vertex, and for this parabola this is vertex. So we know how to decide, by now we know how to decide parabola opens up or down, and we also know what do we mean by the vertex of the parabola. Later on we will realize the vertex is one of the most important quantity associated with quadratic function. If we know how to find the vertex of a quadratic function, vertex of the parabola representing a quadratic function, then we in fact will have answer of most of the question associated with quadratic function.